everyone, and welcome to Pass the Mic. Thank you for joining me today in this glorious, magnificent space. The beauty of nature all around us. And today we have a man that absolutely knows about nature. Rob Barrick, an environmental scientist. He is here to share with us how we are one, how we create our own reality, how the vision of life flows through everything. And I know he's probably saying, what? I didn't say I was going to do all that. But that's exactly what we do. So I want to thank you for joining me. Sit tight, hold it, and I'll be right back with you. World, say hello to Rob Barrick. Rob, say hello to the world.
Hi world, how you doing?
Rob, what's our song today?
Well, I always forget the titles.
I think it's called I Send My Love.
I Send My Love, that's exactly it.
Karen Drucker, You Know I Love You. This is one of your songs, and this is a song that you can just embrace in your heart and sing all week long. I send my love,
I send my love
over the mountains. I send my love over the seas. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Wasn't that sweet? That was sweet. Rob, thank you.
We'll get the thanks in later.
I gotta do dishes, y'all. I gotta do dishes. Rob, so as a scientist of the environment, what does that entail?
Well, in my specific work, I know a lot about where chemicals come from, how they're stored, how they can get into the environment, how they're transported in the environment, what happens to them, and when it comes down to it, and part of what I do in forensics is this is someone's mess, been contributed to by many people. This part is theirs, this part is theirs, this part is theirs. And a lot of times that comes down to how much each of them are going to pay to keep our environment clean. I don't know, environmental for me, a lot of the environmental stuff I do is enjoying nature.
Oh, okay.
And in feeling it.
I love that, and feeling it. So when you say with nature, you go out to specific areas that are in trouble.
Sometimes, although a lot of the work I do is here.
This looks like heaven to me. I don't know about you. I'm sure you can see all this. Lake Washington, we're in Seattle.
But I sometimes go, and sometimes those aren't as fun as others.
You mean dealing with other people?
No. Crouching over and moving along the Kalamazoo River in the middle of summer is not anyone's pleasure but the mosquitoes.
They got a lot of love out of you.
That's right.
What inspired you to take this path?
Well, it actually came from my biology teacher in 7th grade.
7th grade? Do you remember 7th grade? I don't.
Well, then let's move it up to, no, we'll keep it 7th grade.
No.
And he talked to us about nature and what you could do with that. But it was also teaching me how you could apply yourself in science. And what he really interested me in was oceanography, which is one of my degrees.
Okay.
And the other thing that was interesting me in is genetics.
Oh, wow.
So I came up here to the Northwest to potentially do both of those.
Okay.
I settled on oceanography and then added a chemistry degree to that. And when you put those together, you get to know a lot about what nature is doing, how it's interacting with each other, all of these things that make it a connection through the universe. Chemistry matters.
I love that. I think now in a lot of spiritual teaching, there is a science that people are starting to awakened to, that's already been there. And you having that side of your brain functioning.
On occasion.
Rob is great with, he can tell you different plants, what they give back to the world, sometimes their origin. So in oceanography, I've always been really curious about that. Because the ocean to me is like this endless depth of a void that happens once we get below like the little surface that we know. Right. There's like this void of I don't know, I don't want to say not existence, but this space that's there.
Yeah. There's a lot of life in that. Not all of it you see.
Right.
Many of them are microscopic little plants, microscopic little animals, and that one microscopic little animal like this, or actually it's visible, is the chief diet for baleen whales.
Are you serious?
They go through and filter everything through, and they take in tons. They filter out tons of these organisms from the water, and that's how they live.
Wow. I mean, it's so amazing that this earth just provides everything. Now, I loved dissecting stuff when I was in school. Well, I have to say the frog did get me a little bit, but we did a few little things, the crawfish and all of that little stuff. So in the 7th grade, this teacher lights a fire in you to explore. What did you do as a kid to really nourish that?
Well, I grew up on a little ranch, I suppose you would call it.
What, 25 acres was it?
No, we moved up to one that was 40 acres. We started on one that was about 3 acres, and we had an additional 35 acres of pasture land. So we finally moved up in the mountains for a larger spot. So I grew up with horses and everything else. My dad loved animals.
Okay.
He related very well to animals. So we had horses and dogs and cats, barn cats. They didn't come inside.
Oh, you stay outside.
And then we also had a few more unusual ones. We were foster caring a black bear. For a
real
years.
Bear?
A real bear.
Bear?
Oh, come on, her name was Sadie.
Sadie the bear.
Her mother had been killed during hunting season,
oh.
And we were helping the cub, make it into life.
Oh, they're so cute.
But we also had, I was one day opening up mail from home, and there was a nice Polaroid picture of a fawn standing in front of the TV in my dad's house.
Wait a minute, the fawn is watching TV?
No, the fawn is looking at the camera.
Oh.
Well, we had that. We had, and that was short-term too. We had 2 raccoons.
Oh,
Peanuts
they are so cute with their dangerous self.
Well, they're interesting, but it was Peanuts and Rosemary Cooney.
Somebody had a great sense of humor.
But they were mischievous. And we had all sorts of other things. So I was always in nature.
Okay.
I grew up on the side of a mesa and outside of Boulder. Gorgeous view. The Front Range, the Back Range, Pikes Peak we could see down by Colorado Springs. And later when we moved into the mountains, had a view of all of the plains with, well, Denver all the way to Boulder, lights all the way across. We could see on a good day the border, the Kansas border.
Oh, really?
The mountains north of Cheyenne.
Oh my goodness.
So I was loving it. And all through all of that, I love to go out like at night sometimes, all by myself and just explore around. I love the wind. I had one time when the wind was coming and I just leaned back into this tree and the wind was blowing. I was just pinned against this tree. And I love things like that. I love to just go and feel. I feel nature.
You feel nature.
I see light and I feel nature.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love that you said you feel nature.
Yeah.
That's really, really powerful, because I love the wind. I think the wind is amazing. It just wraps you up in this invisible presence, you know, that you can feel, you can see the effects of it.
Sure.
You know, but not it. So you came out to the Northwest Pacific to pursue your career.
Came to university. Yeah.
Okay. You came out here to go to school?
Yep.
Did you go to
UW, University of Washington.
UW. It's everywhere. Wait a minute. I almost called what their mascot is.
Huskies.
Huskies. Are you a husky?
You should know that. You love dogs.
I know, dog. And huskies are adorable.
I had a husky. We had a husky when we were growing up. My sister had another one. Oh, that with dogs, I said?
Yeah.
We had dogs. My dad had 5 Irish wolfhounds.
Oh my goodness.
They had to come indoors because it could get cold.
Oh.
They had their own door running in and out.
The cats were kicked out, but the dogs said, y'all come on in by the fire.
The cats couldn't come in.
Cats love being outside, though.
They do.
Yeah, they love that. Did this pique your interest to travel?
Oh, goodness. I don't know if that piqued it, but I've always just had a love of traveling. We explored different areas. My mother loved traveling, and I went several places with her to Europe and other places, and it just ignited a fire under me, and I found a lot of similarities between every place I went to.
Yes.
And then some distinctive pieces that made me go, and this is what it makes this place.
Right.
But everything else was common. Right. I don't mean not elegant,
no,
but it was all tied up with each other. And I love seeing that.
We have a greater connection no matter where you are. You know, I mean, we have that connection. I love that you brought your mother in, because you have shared stories with me about your mother. To me, she was really kind of like a Renaissance woman. She was ahead of her time in the way that, how she thought about life and what she taught. Tell me again, because she was an author.
Well, she wrote books later, but she was,
I know she was a mom.
Clinical
and
psychology.
A wife.
Clinical psychology
okay.
was her specialty. She had a private practice and also taught at the University of Colorado, and did a lot of counseling people, but also she had a love of writing and of her own world and expressing that, and so she wrote 7 books on spiritual psychology.
See, that's what I wanted to get to, because I mean, at this time, people weren't even making the connection of spirituality, energy, vibration. She was having those conversations.
Yes, yeah.
And understanding it at a whole nother level.
Yeah, and she played piano like you wouldn't believe. I wish I could play as well as she did. I play some, but not like Mom. But she had all these things that she just loved, and to me, I could feel it. She taught me some mantras at times that I had. She was raised a Presbyterian, I believe, became a Northern Baptist.
Woo!
And then also went and explored things in New Age, New Age church.
Okay.
But she just, I could feel the vibration in some of the mantras she gave me. You could just feel, you could touch, you could see the connection between everything. And she made me open to that.
That's really powerful. Well, as we get ready to wind up, let me ask you this. Who or whom, let's see what's the correct English here, whom had the most impact in your life?
That's really hard to say. My grandmother was very special. I learned to cook from her. She protected me.
Grannies are good for that, doggone it.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my baby.
And that's exactly what she did. You know, she put herself between me and a raging personality that was coming after me. And she wasn't big. She was about 5'3". And she said, "Stop." And I was in awe.
Wow.
I was in awe. She was the sweetest, gentlest, kind. She was a Southern woman.
Oh, a Southern woman. From where?
From East Texas.
Oh, doggone it. Yeah. All Southern, baby.
So all the things she did there and loved me for, and you know, I remember still when I drove off for college, she was going off, she was standing on the porch, because my last stop was to see her, and I was going off, and she was crying, and but I felt very safe with her. I felt very inspired by my mother. I saw some of the creativity of my dad, but the one who just, aside from my husband, that brought it all together was my grandmother in terms of feelings.
Yeah.
My mom brought it all together in terms of teaching me about the universe.
How beautiful.
But she did tell me one time, said, "Rob, you really have a good sense of the oneness of the universe, but you need to work on your individuality."
Oh.
And I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Until years later, I was going, "Oh, I want to find someone that's like me, that I can relate to."
Right.
And then I finally realized there is no one that's exactly like you.
Right.
But we're each facets of a diamond that makes the universe, and that individual facet is what makes me individual.
Yes.
So I could sense the universe, and I could understand that facet and feel the ones around me. And that I owe to my mom.
That's beautifully said.
It is these same wonderful principles that Rob shares with his loving.
Now, I heard you mention your husband. We'll give a shout out to your husband.
Harold.
Hey! Hey, Harold! Hey! How long have you guys been married?
We've been married for 5 years. We've been together for about 8.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's beautiful to have somebody in your life that you can share.
It was.
Yeah, and well, he's not dead, is he? Wait.
No, but I was just thinking back with
so...
what Harold brought for me was, he was good looking.
Ah, look at that.
So I was very attracted to him, and he exuded love. And that combination of someone who's pleasing to you and also loves you deeply, that's rare.
That is, and it's beautiful. So as we close, let me ask you this, Rob. You shared a lot of amazing things with us.
Only some of which you'll have to cut.
I think we're going to do pretty good. I don't think I'm going to be cutting anything. You've given so much to the universe, and you believe in this divine universe. What words of encouragement or inspiration would you share with people today?
What always comes back to me on that is light. I feel the light, I share the light, and it always comes around. To me, that's a lot of the currency of the universe, is the vibration and the spectrum of light that comes. And if you're careful and if you're good and you allow it, you can feel it. So feel the light, pet the pet bears, and just sit back and allow the universe to circulate and contribute to that when you can. I love contributing to circulation.
Wow, I love it. I love it. We're going to close out with our song.
Oh, again?
Yes. Like, she didn't tell me that. I send my love.
I send my love
over the mountains.
Over those mountains.
I send my love over the sea.
Over the sea.
I send my
I send my love
into the heavens. And it returns to me.
And you.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Pass the Mic. Remember, we are one. We hold a vision. We are creating our here and now, just you and me,
all together.
It's just you and me. I'll see you next week on